When I hop up in the rave, it's a high-speed chase. Push the pedal to the floor, I won't quit, no way. Against all odds, no matter what they say, I won't quit, no way. No way. Yeah, I'm the same old kid with the high school dreams. Got my eye on the prize, get it by any means, just go. Push the pedal to the floor, game up in my hands and I'll never let it go. Die for it, I would. No matter what they say, always knew that I could. There are things that I won't let them take from me. There are dreams that I won't let them take from me. Oh, yeah.
Good morning, KWPP. How's everybody doing? How's everybody doing? Thank you.
All right.
Appreciate it.
We know it's summer, but
Yeah, it's summer. It's gonna be beautiful today. Everybody's gonna be in a good mood. It's gonna be a great day to sell some real estate. So let's get fired up and let's get it going. Austin.
Oh gosh.
it's
You
also
absolutely
Monday.
do. All right. Hey, so we've been revamping your broker support number. So if for some odd reason you can't get a hold of me on the phone, you can call 833-33-KWPP and get some good advice. Okay. So we're still filling out the roster on this. If anybody would be interested in putting their hand up and manning a day answering broker questions, let me know. Some fun opportunity to help your other agents out. And the questions I found make you a better agent because you get some sort of opportunity, like some sort of situation you haven't heard of before, and helping working something out through it helps you become better. So let me know if you want to get involved. And if you have an issue, again, it's 833-333-KWPP.
Everyone should be saving that as the broker hotline in your phone,
Mhm.
right? So then if you're like, oh, I need help, pull up broker hotline and you're done.
Mhm.
I just changed mine right now.
Or call me and I will give you the number. That's 833-3333-KWPP. That's so good, Austin. Good job.
Oh my gosh, we're like a commercial.
Yes, we are. You guys will be haunted by that tonight. Yeah.
That's funny.
All right. So free credit hour class tomorrow with Environmental Works, what the pros need to know, radon sewer tank, provided by Environmental Works. And it's from 11 to 12 here in person. RSVP to Austin at ASC at KWPortlandPremier.com. They're providing lunch and
Yeah.
it should be a really good discussion.
We need a head count. So please let Austin know if you're coming so we can have enough lunches for everybody.
Mhm.
By noon today is what they asked.
By noon today. There you go. So do it right now.
Is that tomorrow?
It's tomorrow because today is Tuesday.
Right there, 11 to 12.
All my new agents, you should be going to this. Whether we need CE or not, these classes are great and important for us to understand what, like if you haven't done an inspection yet, you want to go to one of these, right? You want to know how to talk about it to your clients and explain why they should have an inspection done.
Is this a CE?
It
Yep.
is a CE, yeah. Every other Wednesday, CE.
Yep. And good topic. So
Yes.
these are
Really
things we
good
need to know: radon, sewer, underground tanks. I don't know enough about these and I've been doing this for a long time. So good idea for y'all to come do that. So awesome.
I think if you go to underground tanks, how many people know what a cesspool is?
Yeah.
I didn't.
I've done I've done one transaction with a cesspool.
Yeah, I didn't know what they were.
I still don't know what it is.
So there you go.
Yeah.
We should probably go.
I closed that.
Did
Closed the
you?
deal, but I don't know how. Okay, let's move on.
Career night.
Career night is going to be next Wednesday, June 29th from 6 to 7 p.m. Yours truly will be hosting it. So if you have anybody who's interested in getting into real estate, send them over and build your downline.
I think Rochelle's helping you on
And
that.
Rochelle's going to help you there. That's right. It'll be fun.
Because I'm on vacay.
Yep. Tony usually does this, so I'm going to step in and do my best. But it'd be nice to have Rochelle on the backup on that. But they're really fun. So if you guys ever want to get involved in one, let me know. If you have somebody that you want to send to us, let us know and we'll roll the carpet out for them and make them feel special.
Absolutely. And you're welcome to come too. Julie came to, she invited someone and came and showed up and it was really helpful to have her there. More helpful for me, but she helped me write an offer.
Yeah. And build your downline. Who
And
doesn't
build
want to
your
build their
downline.
downline?
Yeah.
Cool.
Start
Yeah.
getting profit share. Party.
Ooh, go ahead. No, this sounds like
Oh,
you.
yeah,
This sounds like
this
you're-
is all
this
me,
your-
right? All the
This sounds
time.
like you're.
All day, all night. No, we're having a social. So usually every year we do a summer picnic. COVID's kind of put a cramp on that. So we're gonna go have fun at Oswego Hills Vineyard and Winery. Live music. We have a band coming. Food trucks. I think we're still working on that.
I think so. And then there
And-
was.
and of
Tony
course,
Keller was doing the.
Wine.
Mhm.
Yeah, Tony Keller's doing the.
And maybe a Scotch tasting.
Is he doing a Scotch tasting
Mhm.
too?
Handful of-
We keep talking about this because we really want you guys to come. It's gonna be
You guys,
fantastic.
our summer socials are so much
Yeah.
fun. Like, it's a great place to just like get to know one another and not be business, right? Even we let our hair down. You only get that twice a year.
That feels like a kind of a shot. I mean, and Dwight,
I'll
because he's not
borrow you
here,
away.
and probably Peter too,
Yeah, well, whatever. And Tony.
and Tony.
It's
Austin.
fun. So put
Austin will
that
put
on
his
your
hair down.
calendar. Austin will let his hair down.
Yeah.
There you go.
All right. So this is really exciting. So two of our brokers, Jill Parker and Perla, have been nominated to be one of like Willamette Weekly's reader polls best realtors. And so what we'd love for you guys to do would be to log on. Austin's going to put a link in the chat, right?
Yes, and then I'll show it as well.
And show it as well. And we are going to hopefully support our agents and pump them up and get them some notoriety in probably the second largest newspaper in Oregon.
Which will
Willamette Week
give-
is a big newspaper, so
and giving them that will actually give Kaler
Yeah.
Williams Portland Premiere.
it gives us
right?
all notoriety. So let's support them.
Yeah, and so the link itself, and I'll post this in the Facebook or Sammy might as well.
Even
but,
better.
Yeah.
In going here, there's a direct link, but if I actually go back, this is where it's coming from. So on the best of for Willamette Weekly, Portland 2022, they're doing this poll for certain local businesses and things like that. Down here, you can select certain groups. I'm in the cannabis section, right? Okay. All right, it's a
Yeah.
random
Huh.
one. You think of goods and services, whatever.
Okay.
But under
Interesting.
goods and services, there's a bunch of different categories, and one of them is best real estate agent. And Jill Parker and Perla Martinez are part of the
Portland Urban Properties
for
Group. at
Portland
KW.
Properties and KW, which is us. So you can go ahead and select that and then go ahead and vote. Oh, you have to sign it. You go ahead and vote, and that will go and contribute towards their results.
That's
Love it.
awesome.
Let's all do that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I was gonna just ask you, Austin, who was the best? I saw best real estate company underneath.
Oh, yeah. I don't know. I think I checked. I think I went there. I didn't recognize any of the names.
Okay.
Yeah. I don't know how you do that.
I was just curious if Laura Gillett was on there for KW out of Lebanon, because they're really Willamette
Oh,
Valley,
yeah.
big time.
Mhm.
Still KW, right?
Well, Willamette Week's more of a Portland magazine.
Is it a Portland?
Yep, yep. It's free. You can pick it up places. Yeah. Okay, cool. Thank you, Austin.
Yeah.
Dun, dun, dun. All right, how is everybody prepared for the transition from zip forms to DocuSign or SkySlope or whatever it is you're going to choose to do? Has everybody made a choice on how they want to handle that?
I have.
Their silence is deafening. Thank you.
Yeah. Okay, wait. Everybody that's new since January, you're already probably
Dialed into
doc-
DocuSign.
Your DocuSign.
Yeah.
So this is like, I could see eyes glazed over for that reason. But anybody that joined us prior to January, you were on zip forms.
Mhm.
So if you are still doing zip forms, either you're gonna pay for zip forms or you're gonna switch over and get DocuSign for free through us. And you need to do it this week because our
Probably,
contract
yeah.
ends
On the 24th or 25th.
on
yeah.
the 24th.
So start on the 24th and you'll be shut out of the account. And I don't believe that you can transfer the old account to a new account.
And you need to get your stuff, so you need to download.
So if you need those documents, I don't think you guys should be storing your documents in your platform like that anyways, because some will be signed, some won't be signed.
Yeah.
You should be uploading them, excuse me, you should be uploading them into Command anyway. So all your documents should live in Command pre-dotloop.
Yeah, but I
Hey,
know.
can I make a comment on that?
Yes.
This is Jill. So I've been working on that for 2 days and I'm still not done because I have hundreds of transactions and you cannot export them all at once. So if somebody's going to do this, you need the next couple of days to do it.
Yeah. Yeah, it's not smooth, not easy. Zip forms is not great to work with. And I've heard people trying to transfer their accounts from our office account to just having an individual account, and Zip Forms has not been really able to work with that. I'm not sure why.
It might be because.
No, you can't do that. Yep, I had to start all
Email
over from
address.
scratch.
It's like if your email address that you have that you primarily use for Keller Williams is tied to the office's Zip Forms account, sometimes that makes an issue.
Mhm.
So you may need to contact Zip Forms support, which in and of itself is a fun situation. So just, yeah, I would start today. Of the 25 to 30 emails I got over the weekend, I'm assuming not everyone is fully aware of the situation that we've been talking about for the last 8 months, but it's okay. I will have a canned email I will send to most of them to save a lot of time with a lot of links and how-tos and stuff like that. So if you are struggling, if you can't find the information on the website, just let me know. That'll be my primary goal this week. So it'll be fun.
Alex, you were gonna say something. Are you guys transferring?
We're sticking with Zip Forms. I was able to transfer.
You were.
But I had an old Zip Forms account.
That was probably your own.
So,
Predated
yeah,
mine.
Yeah.
before we switched to the.
Yeah. If you already have an individual account that you're using, then you should be fine if you want to continue using Zip Forms. But if you have an account that came from KWPP, then it's probably not going to be available to you.
Right. No,
You have to actively cancel that.
It's going to just
it's
happen on
just
its own.
gonna cancel.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah, and you'll lose access. So I know you use it. We've used it. Ian.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Sweet.
awesome.
All right. So the process for doing that, if you don't want to do Zip Forms, you want to move over to DocuSign. I have a feeling that probably on the 24th and 25th, those of you who have not paid recently for your ORAF forms, I think that will probably be shut down as well. So you're going to want to be out in front of this. I would probably, what is the 20? I don't know if they
Is that
did.
Friday?
Friday.
So by Friday, I would probably, because if you're gonna have any, the transition from OREF, from DocuSign recognizing your OREF subscription isn't always a really smooth transaction, like a really smooth connection. So I would probably want to order my forms this week in case you have a problem over the weekend and you can't get a hold of anybody on OREF. Because if you can't log into DocuSign and get access to your forms over the weekend, you're gonna have a hard time writing deals.
Right.
It's very lovely that it decided to land on a Friday. It's
Right.
gonna be great.
Yeah,
Saturday is gonna be a day.
yeah,
Yep. All right. Anything else?
No.
I don't think so.
All right. Okay, so I actually wanted to do a quick command update. So I learned a little bit about some things that have rolled out feature-wise for command, and I think this is pretty neat. So if you guys didn't know, through command as well as through the mobile app, you as an agent or consumers can actually, or the clients, the consumers through the app can actually set up what's called saved searches, which allows you to set up a certain parameters within like a zip code or a drawn area within the Portland area where you can get very frequent updates about new listings, price changes, things like that, up to, or like as soon as 30 minutes from when it happens. And so you can, in command, you can set it up for a client in your database, or the client themselves through the consumer app can actually go in and create them themselves. But there's some new features to it that allows them to have more abilities to, I guess, customize their notifications, either through push notifications to their phone or push notifications to their email. And so with this, the new triggers that the notifications have for safe searches, so new listings added by the agent, a co-buyer, or a collaborator, and then any price updates, like I mentioned, listing status updates, open house updates, and then you can also do notifications for collections, which are the ones that clients can save. They can save properties and stuff, and you can get updates on those properties now, which is really cool. So if you're interested in this, you can just go into the consumer app on your phone and go ahead and like just use the draw feature, and then you'll see a little save button at the very top right of the screen, and you can save it as a collection or save it as a save search, and then go into your settings and customize the notifications. It's really cool. If you have any questions about that, let me know. I know it's like I could show it on my phone, but I feel like I'm going to have technical difficulties today. It's a day. So just go ahead and let me know if you have any questions, if you want to explore more about that. It's really easy. Less than 5 minutes of time. So
Cool.
Did you create this one?
I had to recreate it, but
There's a spelling.
no,
I'm sorry.
I copied and pasted. There you go. It's Sam's fault.
Sam's
The
fault?
regional tech
Okay,
trainer's
okay,
fault.
okay.
There you go.
All right, here we are. Haves
haves
and
and
wants.
What do we got on them? Any new ones?
What do you have and what do you want?
Well, tell you what I want, what I really, really want.
I
I wanna.
wanna.
Thank you for filling time.
All right, Austin, I can't read it or see any of that, so
Oh
you're
my
gonna have.
gosh, yeah, like not
can you
even
yell it?
Austin.
Oh, no, me?
Mhm.
Okay.
Yeah,
All
Wow,
right, so
that-
we're gonna go. what's the
Wait,
date
I need to
today?
see this.
Last week.
I still can't read it. Can you read it?
Got it.
Go ahead.
Guys, okay, you want me to slow down more?
Well, you know, old eyes.
Yeah, no, we're good, we're good. Oh,
Oh, hey, that's better. Look at that. Let's start with June 10th. This is the haves or the needs? This is the buyer needs?
Sorry, yep.
Okay, so Stephanie needs someone in LO, Cedar Hills, Inner Southeast, 1.5 million. Anyone got that? Coming
4
up?
bedrooms,
Like
3
what's
baths,
up?
minimum 3,000 square
Woo.
feet. It's a good one.
Yep, Francesca, new agent, love it. These are both new agents, by the way, and so is Julie, and so is Megan. It's all my new agents. Ha! They all need listings. I love it. Working with buyers. 420, 2 beds, 2 baths, Beaverton surrounding area. Julie, 700, 3 beds, 2 baths at the coast, Tillamook preferred. Another Julie, 500 to 1 million, 3-2. Within 60 minutes of Portland. That seems pretty easy to find.
Mhm.
Megan? Hey, has anyone noticed that listings are picking up? Inventories starting to spike. Megan, you need a 535, 3 bedrooms, 2 baths, Oregon City, Happy Valley, East Gresham. Awesome. Let's find them. Did you go to if you have a need, have you gone to the haves to see if it's on that list?
Well, let's see.
Right? So, look at this again. Julie has a listing coming up at the end of the month.
6217 Northeast 10th Avenue.
Yeah, it's a great house. 650 to 670, somewhere in there, they're gonna list it. Terry has a couple listings.
Can you zoom out of that a little bit, Austin, so you can see the.
Yeah, the
address?
addresses,
Oh, yeah.
just a hair.
Squitch, there you go.
Okay, so Terry has a couple listings coming up this week and in July, one in Canby, one in Tigard. Jill Parker has one coming up, or nope, it's listed. It should be listed, 610. We're
Mhm.
past the 10th, right?
Mhm, on Kingsgate.
Today's 21.
Mhm, those are
22.
tidy little condos.
And then Linda has one on Rebecca Lane, 700 coming up this week.
Yep,
Ryan Purdy has one coming up here tomorrow, right?
yep. A 1-1.
Nice in Portland and
Pearl.
Megan Estacada. Woo, go girl.
Good job, everybody.
Love it. So if you have a buyer looking at any of those, this is where you want to go,
Mhm,
right?
Yep.
You get the upper hand on what's coming on the market before it actually hits. the
That's right.
market.
That's right.
Reach out to the agent and, ask for more information. You can't go see them before they're live, but your clients can drive
If they're
by.
CSN, they can't see them, but if they're
They
not
can't.
CSN, they can.
Right,
Mhm.
yeah.
Mhm.
All right,
Just move on. Academy update.
Yes, can you hear me okay?
Chad Kruger.
Chad, woo-hoo, hi.
Oh, hi there. I'm
Hi, Chad.
filling in for Josh today. He's at one of his children's promotion events grade-wise, so
Oh, cool.
good stuff, fun life chapters. So I just have a few pieces of information that I would like to share with you all this morning. And first of all, I texted and emailed Austin, and I want to make sure, Austin, if you saw, were you able to receive that image that I sent to you?
Yeah.
And can you pull that up if at all possible?
He's pulling
And
it.
great, excellent. And while he's working on that, just a quick update on interest rates. So the piece that I think is at least temporarily nice is that after the Federal Reserve announced making their adjustments on the Fed rate and raising rates across the board from what they can control, and then also many European countries and banks also raised their rates to try to fight the inflationary pressures that we're seeing not only in the US, but in the world economy. The mortgage-backed securities market did respond positively by stabilizing over the last week. And this sell-off that had been occurring over the previous 3 weeks stopped, which is a plus. So that has helped keep interest rates, depending on your situation and depending on your scenario, anywhere from maybe in the high 5s into the low 6s. And it's unbelievable to me that I'm even saying the 6s. I mean, it's been a long time since I've seen rates in the 6s, but hey, the silver lining in all of this, and this is where I always say, you know, I mean, what's the old adage? When life gives you lemons, you make lemonade. So the silver lining in this is that you can see from this image that existing home sales are decreasing. And what this is doing is it's creating inventory pressure on sellers to have to bring their homes to market at an appropriate price point that they will sell. And or if they are too high, they're not selling. And so we are seeing inventory levels in the metro area specifically begin to climb. Though I know the idea of 1 month of inventory sounds ridiculous, that's actually a good thing for our buyers that we're trying to help, because the silver lining we need to be communicating to our buyers is there's more inventory sitting out there, and you don't have to be quite as aggressive. You still have to be ready, but it's not like you're having to write sight unseen and then figure it out during the home inspection period, which is a good thing. So this image that Austin brought up, existing home sales down 3.4% month over month, year over year down 8.6%, all-time record high for the national median home price, $407,600. I mean, we've never seen that before, but pretty incredible. Lots of great data coming out this week. We're going to get the jobs report on Thursday, and then new home sales report on Friday. So we'll get an idea of how things are looking month over month and year to date. And then the last piece also on Friday that we'll get that I think is a very important indicator that we always want to pay attention to is the consumer sentiment report, which is put out by the University of Michigan. And right now, last month, that measurement, that indicator measurement was the 4th lowest reading we had seen since Jimmy Carter was the president of the United States. And all that really tells us is that the general consumer is not feeling all that positive about what is going on around them or in the marketplace. And so we have to be aware of this information so that we can then be able to apply the positives to each person's scenario. Like inventory is rising, that means there's more options for you as buyers. Even though interest rates are higher, you're maybe not going to be as competing as much out there. So you've got to look for the positives in all of these challenges that we're seeing, but we'll be interested to see if the consumer sentiment improves from last month or if it continues to stay low. That's all I've got for you today. I think the last piece that I'll end with is remember for those first-time home buyers, we've got over a dozen products that are 0 up to 3.5% down. And we always work with our first-time home buyers and those who maybe have low down options to find and see if one of those solutions is a great fit for them. Typically, we're able to find one, and that's all they need is one to get into a home.
Thanks, Chad. Good stuff. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Yeah. That's a good segue.
Yeah.
Yeah, but one of the things that I've mentioned this before, but one of the benefits to your buyers is that they can make a more sound decision. The more choices they have, the better decision they get to make. And it's been so hard on buyers for the past 1.5 to 2 years to where it's hard to get an offer accepted. And then once you do, the terms are so unfavorable to the buyer, having to waive their appraisal, having to waive or have to bring in a big appraisal gap and having to waive inspections. Now they get to actually inspect the property and they may not have to waive the appraisal or have an appraisal gap to get an offer accepted. So that puts money back in their pocket, right? So like if you have a client buying a $500,000 house, they're putting 20% down, but they had to do an appraisal insurance and that costing another $50,000 to $100,000. That really hits them hard in the pocketbook. That's $50,000 to $100,000 that they could have used for an investment property. They could have used to update the home. They could have used to make a repair because they weren't getting repairs done. So it's a much better climate for a buyer to buy in right now, even though the interest rates has gone up and it's so easy to focus on the interest rate. But like, I think, and I would have to do the math, but I mean, if someone's going to stay in their house 8 to 10 years, the difference between the interest rate and actually getting repairs done or not having to bring in extra gap coverage, like I think that might be in that, it might balance out. I mean, I'm not sure if it's exactly the same, but it's not terrible. So it's all about perspective. It's all about like seeing the whole transaction for what it is. Austin Dean.
Chad did say in the chat, we are also starting to see new seller help for closing costs. And
Yep.
prepays.
Yeah, yep.
Yeah, we are.
Yep, and that's another benefit, right? And Oregon is different than a lot of places in like the Portland metro area. Is a lot different than other parts of the country. I think every mortgage broker went to the seminar that said, hey, let's see if roll your closing costs into the purchase price of the house because you can finance it at 5% or whatever your interest rate is. It was still a pretty good deal, right? Because your money could probably do better for you elsewhere. And so Portland's really like a strong closing cost market. Like it's not like that in other parts of the country. Yeah. Cool. We have a wonderful panel to bring you guys today on a wonderful topic, and it's arming and setting expectations for buyers and sellers. I'd love to bring up Jill and Kay and Alex and just let's come up here and just talk about how
I can scoot over.
and how to manage your transactions in the shifting market. So we're gonna trap you guys in the middle here.
We need to reset this a little bit, right? I just move it like that. Let's make everybody dizzy first. Is that good?
So maybe I'll do this in some sort of like chronological order. We haven't this planned out, but like you get it, Alex, you set some listing appointments yesterday, I heard.
Yeah.
Right. And so you're going to go on those listing appointments and you're certainly going to get the listing. Let's just pass by that because I know you're going to get it. But like, what are some of the things that you're doing now? Because when the market was so hot, all you had to do is, push go on the RMLS listing, your phone started ringing and you started getting offers. But now we're faced with some challenges as market time is going to extend. So like, what's some advice you have to our agents on how to manage that time?
Yeah. So, I mean, the subject of this panel is setting expectations. Setting expectations is really important to do.
Yeah.
We start by, from the initial phone call in that nurturing up to setting the listing appointment, making sure the clients are aware that the market's changing or has changed, and it's not 6 months ago.
Right.
And they need to be up to date. And so that in itself is a great opportunity to go ahead and schedule the coffee meeting or meeting at the house. Let me get you updated because the market's changing and you need to be aware.
Yeah. I think setting the expectation is so important because not everybody has their finger on the pulse of the information like we do. And the information is changing. Like, I think that we still haven't quite sifted through what this shift is yet. I bet you in the next like 30 to 60 days, we'll probably have a better feel for as sales are recording, we'll have a better idea of the impact of it all. Do you guys feel like the market's going up, going down, flat? What do you all think about that?
I think it's going down.
You think it's going
but
down?
very, very
Slowly?
slowly going down.
Yeah, could be. I'd be interested to see. What do you see?
I kind of feel like we are kind of holding steady.
Holding
a little
steady.
bit. Like we're maybe at a normal for a minute.
Yeah.
But things are getting easier for our buyers.
For your
like you already
buyers.
said, right? So
Yeah. What do you think?
I mean, if I had a crystal ball, I think prices are going to continue to appreciate, but at a much slower clip. Talking 3-4% a year.
Yeah,
which
maybe,
is
right?
historical
That's
normal.
Yeah.
Inventory, I would suspect that inventory is going to continue to rise. However, one of the big things I think is going to happen is all the people that we've sold homes to over the last 10 years at 3% rates, those move-up buyers are going to have a real hard time taking the plunge and going to buy a house that's
Yeah.
twice as expensive.
Mhm.
at a 2 times as high interest rate,
Mhm.
3 to 6. And so instead of selling their current house and moving up, I think a good portion of those buyers, a large percentage of those clients are going to decide to renovate
Mhm.
or add on.
Mhm.
And that will create a long-term inventory problem.
Mhm.
I'm expecting inventory shortage for another 10 years.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and also too, they might keep that home and then take whatever equity they have out of it and then buy and move up,
Mhm.
but still have that and because of the low interest rate and.
Might
the
keep it and
increase
use it
in
as
the
a rental.
They'll use it as a rental,
Yeah,
right?
That's a good idea.
Which adds to the inventory
Yeah.
problem.
And this is something I wanted to talk to you about specifically. So like setting the expectations is one thing, right? Like you tell them that this is going to happen, but you've put together your market plan, but this is super important, I think, because it's going to be a protracted listing period. You've got to hit all your metrics. You got to hit your numbers at the right time. Like you see, if they're expecting a phone call, you better call them before they expect it. If you're saying you're going to do this, you better absolutely do it, right? Because the follow through and playing catch up on missing a deadline is horrible with a seller.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Over promise, under deliver.
Yeah, that's
Is
it.
that right?
No, under deliver.
Under deliver, over promise.
Wait, over.
There
Under
you go.
promise, over deliver. Yeah.
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 It's a super important. We do something called Tuesday listing updates, and I'm impatient by nature, so I make the Tuesday listing update calls on Mondays. We set that expectation. You're going to hear from me
Mhm.
at the bare minimum once a week,
Mhm.
most likely on Mondays, might bleed into Tuesday, depending on how busy we are. And we're going to talk about the activity that happened the previous week. We're going to talk about view counts on Zillow and Redfin and
Anywhere they'll tell you,
Armless,
right?
what-
Yeah.
And we're going to come up with a plan for this coming week.
Mhm.
And it's a weekly call. Now I remember back when we had 6 months of inventory and it took 4 months to sell a house that, we weren't doing weekly calls. It was like you'd call every month. And maybe if we get that kind of inventory,
Mhm.
we transition back to that. But right now, we're all impatient. We expect information right
Mhm.
now. And so a weekly call, I think, is
Mhm.
a pretty bare minimum.
Yeah.
Can I say something
Of
on
course.
that? So we always talk about leverage, and one of the things that you can do, and I know you do this through another system, but Command will actually do auto updates to them every single day if you check a little box, right? So you create all the activities during a transaction in the opportunity, you check that box that day, the next day they're getting an email. So now they're getting daily updates, but all you're doing or your TC is doing is checking the box.
Mhm. Yeah.
Simplify it, right?
Yeah. You automate as much as you can.
Yep.
Yeah, that's great advice. I knew this guy one time. I still know him. He had a big real estate team. He doesn't have any anymore. But he would get a phone call from one of his clients and he would look at his team and say, why is this person calling me?
That's
Your
right.
seller should never call you. You should always be out in front of that seller
That's
phone call
right.
because it's never good when your seller's calling you, it seems like. So under promise, over deliver, do what you say you're going to do, be a professional because you don't want to get behind the 8 ball. When the market's not reacting the way your client wants it to, they're going to point to the empty flyer box or the fact that you haven't given them an update or whatever it is. They're going to, it's a stressful time. They're probably going to blame you while they're losing money, while they think they're losing money on their house because you didn't do something you said you were supposed to do. So get out in front of that. It's super important.
I think it's important for us to remember that as this market has changed now, our sellers are still expecting the same kind of activity we had
Right.
6 or 8 or 12 months ago, right?
Yeah.
And so it's our job to keep everybody calm.
Sure.
It's like,
Yeah.
no, everything's going well.
Yep.
This is why, and just communicate. And I think sometimes that's just what they need. They need to be heard.
Uh-huh.
And then we need to say, it's going to be okay.
Yeah.
Like we're doing well here.
Yeah.
This is why. And then
Uh-huh.
share all those.
How are you keeping
Yes.
your buyer clients kind of, at peace while they're seeing their interest rates jump?
The buyers.
Yeah.
Well, I just explain why some of the stuff that we already covered
Uh-huh.
with the academy
Yeah.
portion, right? Was just to let them know that, no, it's still a good time for you to buy.
Uh-huh.
This is why. I mean, you're going to, even if I have a buyer right now that feels like he's, oh my gosh, why am I buying right now? Interest rates are going so high.
Right.
Well, let's put it in perspective a
Right.
little bit, because maybe 2% was wow, we've never seen that before.
Right.
Right? Now we're getting to a normal rate where
Yeah.
how many of us remember purchasing our homes at a much higher rate
Yeah.
than 2 and 3%,
The,
right?
the first house I bought
So-
was at 7. And
Right.
when I hear 5 or 6, I think
Well,
that's a
and-
steal. So.
And so it's perspective.
Yeah, 7.5 is actually the overall.
Yeah,
average,
yeah.
Right?
And I think-
started at 6.
Yeah, and I do think that a lot of them now are buyers, especially ones that are older, they've done this before.
Mhm.
If we can just communicate
Mhm.
and say, hey, remember when? I mean,
Mhm.
this is okay. And
Yeah.
if rates do go down, let's refinance later,
Mhm.
but let's get in now.
Mhm.
And you've got a lot of, we've got the inventory,
Yeah.
we can negotiate a bit now.
Yeah.
We're back to that place where we can.
Yeah. And we
ask
still
for
don't
closing
have,
costs.
we still have a shortage of homes. Like
Right.
it's a long-term problem here in Portland metropolitan. There's still a shortage of homes. And so prices are probably going to go up. Right. And so
So can I ask you two a question?
perfect. I love this.
So you have a seller who absolutely thought they were gonna get into the hot market.
Yeah.
And they put it on the market probably a week after it went down. I mean, that's why I
Yeah.
stopped talking, things are going down because they're slower. But their expectation is that they were gonna get more than
Right.
the correct list price, and now they're not.
Mhm.
From that shift from where it could have, and now it
It is.
is,
Yeah, right.
what would the conversation be to your seller right now?
Yeah, we're having a very similar conversation with a home in Beaverton, and they just missed it. They missed the market.
Mhm.
We're priced at 675, and they need to be at 625.
Wow.
And they don't want to be at 625. I don't blame them. So the conversation, the way I take it is, we deliver good news and bad news the same. It's unfiltered, and that's just the way it is. So the conversations I've had with that seller is, you guys missed it 6 months ago. We could have gotten it. The market's changed overnight about a month and a half ago. Really sorry for that, but good news is we can still sell the house. We just got to be priced right. And so if you want to make an adjustment and go ahead and make the move, this is what we're going to need to do. And here's why I think that 30% of the listings in the area are experiencing price reductions or corrections prior to accepting an offer based on Altos. The amount of showings we've had indicate that we're not in market. The feedback has suggested we're overpriced. And so I guess it comes down to you, Mr. and Mrs. Seller. Do you guys want to sell the house and make the move, or would you rather just stay in the home?
It seems pretty solid. to me.
Yeah. Seems pretty solid.
That's it.
I think that's true. I mean, of course, they have their option to hang out at that price if they want
And
to, but
wait,
they're gonna
hope,
hang
and
out for a while.
pray.
And maybe
Yeah.
the right person will come along
Right.
later, but they have to be patient.
Yeah, I don't feel like hope and praying is a really good marketing plan.
Nope.
Not when selling a house.
Not when selling a house. Yeah.
But
Yeah,
you know,
you said
that's
something.
their option.
Yeah, you said something there that I really liked. And like, I think we all struggle, not all of us, but some of us struggle with fear of losing our clients by telling them things they don't want to hear. And so I thought what you said, we deliver bad news and good news with the same filter. I mean, I think that was really it's a great line to use, twist that, use it how you want. So I think it really when you're saying that to a client, they understand that, look, I'm not sugarcoating this. It's not my job to sugarcoat this. This is what we do. We tell you the truth.
I have a client that we've worked with 12 times in the last 10 years.
Mhm.
He buys houses, rents them out, eventually sells them. We manage houses for him with
Mhm.
the other company.
Mhm.
We're a week and a half away from closing, through the inspection period, through the appraisal contingency, and buyer got nervous about the economy and terminated, walked away from their earnest money, $5,200.
Mhm.
It's first time home buyer, $5,200
That's a
for
lot of
first time
money.
home buyer is a lot of money.
Mhm.
And this is a very important person to me, the
Mhm.
seller. And I had to call him and said, John, got bad news. I'm really sorry. And, personally, I think the way I like to do it anyway is that I deliver bad news over the phone.
Mhm.
I think
Phone call.
if you're
Yeah.
a reasonable person on the seller side, they will eventually, may not immediately, but eventually appreciate that you made the call rather than shoot a text or an email.
I agree. I agree with that. wholeheartedly. I always deliver bad news with a phone call. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's good. So you're out showing, but this is what I've noticed is we're in flux right now in this shift, and I'm seeing and I'm hearing about some properties that are still garnering multiple offers, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I don't know how many offers. And then others, I'm actually seeing sellers counters offers, which is a document I didn't even know existed anymore. But I've seen more seller counter offers in this last month than I've probably seen about my whole time here at KWPP. But so as that shift's going on, like how are you identifying, you're working with a buyer, like how do you identify, how do you sniff out the situation where you have to go over, or do you just like, how do you guess? Like, how do you figure it out? You call the agent, like what's your tactic on that?
I always talk to the agent,
Yeah.
the listing agent, because I mean, it just, the communication between the two of you should start in a good way
Yeah.
in the beginning.
Yeah.
And if you can get as much information as possible
Mhm.
to share with your buyer,
Right.
I think you have a better chance all the way around.
Mhm. Yeah. I've always wanted to be that agent that the other agent wanted to work with.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, especially on the buy side.
Mhm.
I've always wanted to be that person.
Kill them with kindness.
Yeah. And professionalism.
Yep.
Mhm.
If you're going to be in this business long-term, the relationships with other brokers are really important.
Yeah.
And you better do the right thing and treat people the right way
Mhm.
and not burn bridges
Mhm.
because they'll remember.
Yeah, don't we all have agents that when we see their name,
We're
we're
like,
like, oh
Yeah.
You know,
I wanna show
yeah,
that house.
yeah.
Let's
Yeah,
not show that house.
yeah.
Right,
It's not
right.
my number.
Yeah. You know, I know that team. They don't call back. Right. That's the
It's
worst.
gonna be hard.
Yeah.
Right.
I think going back to the question that you just had too, to know the home and know the market, right? So like when I was just showing my clients, we looked at 12 houses, and before that, a week before, we looked at like 8. So knowing out of all those homes, there was like 2 that stood out,
Mhm.
right? And the rest were like, oh.
Mhm.
So knowing that and seeing other people showing at the same time, you kind of have an idea that, okay, we're gonna have to offer a little bit over
Mhm.
to get it,
Mhm.
because it's like the primo home
Yeah.
out of all these homes that we looked at
Yeah.
in that area.
And I bet
Right?
now more than ever, well, now more than it's been in the past several years, getting the house ready to go to market can make so much money. Before, it was just that there was just so much inventory that what's the difference between 10 offers and 20 offers? You would probably,
Yeah,
luckily, probably end up about the same place. But now cleanliness, at least some
Completely
minor
remodeling,
staging, yeah, updating, like
yeah.
all that stuff is going to really garner the most attention probably, as opposed to things with warts all over it and your clients can't get the house clean, all that stuff. So
Right.
again, setting expectations to get your clients the most money. Yeah. Yeah. But it's still sort of competitive out there. So like you're trying to get your offer accepted. What are, besides picking up the phone and calling, what are some other good tactics?
Well, I mean, that's a really difficult one to answer
Yeah.
because, you know, you want to say to your buyer, offer $100,000 more, no inspection, no appraisal.
Yeah.
You know, you want to do that,
Uh-huh.
but
I don't think we're there anymore,
no,
depending on
but
price points.
yeah,
Right?
I agree, but
You want it, yeah.
you want to do that. But the thing is then you put your buyer in a bad position, and
Mhm.
you're the one that looks like the chump. I just think that it's setting the expectations to a buyer that you may or may not get this.
Mhm.
Don't get your heart set on it
Yeah.
until it actually is, you actually have the
Yeah.
offer accepted.
For sure.
But in the end, you have to protect your buyer
Mhm.
one way or the other, whether they get that offer
Yeah.
accepted or not.
Yeah. I found that like, I've always wanted to make sure that my buyer was fully pre-approved, not just
Yep.
pre-qualified, but pre-approved and by a lender that people would recognize. Like people recognize Academy Mortgage, right? You don't want it to be, Acme Mortgage out of Malala or something like that, right? I mean, I'm just making something up, but like, it's great when you're presenting an offer and it's a known company and they're fully pre-approved.
Which means they've been employment verified.
Yes,
All the documentations and they've
Taxes.
completed their loan application,
right.
like the whole 9 yards. all we're waiting for is underwriter approval on
The property, right? Then you just remove so much trouble from the transaction. You make your buyer so much stronger. And any market, a good market, a bad market, a buyer's market, seller's market, whatever you want to call it, like having a buyer that's really marketable gets better, makes their offer that much better, I think.
And the lender available for a phone call,
Uh-huh.
or the lender calling the agent.
Yeah. Where's everybody stand on escalation clauses?
I like them.
Love them?
I love
Like
them.
'em?
Hate 'em.
Hate them?
I like them.
I like them. Yeah. I think as we're shifting, and if you're finding yourself unsure,
Right.
then maybe an escalation clause is a great option to use, because you're looking at it going, well, we could get 12 offers, we could get one offer, I don't know which one we're gonna get. Putting that escalation clause in there, using as a buyer's agent, using the escalation clause, I think is a fair tactic. Unless they're specifically saying don't use it, and then you have to decide if you want to use it or not, I think.
Yeah.
But I think I've had good luck with them. I like them as a listing agent because it gives me like something almost, if I have an appraisal issue, it kind of gives me something I can track. Like, hey, we had this many offers,
Right.
and this was bumped up because of price, not just like some wild hair, $200,000
Right.
over offer.
Right.
Yeah.
It's great for appraisals.
Yeah.
And some other buyers agents can, when you're the listing agent, some other buyers agents I've experienced, they can call and be really bratty about the price.
Uh-huh.
Why, you have multiple offers. Why aren't you looking at mine? I sold the house across the street and it was
Uh-huh.
this dollar amount and you're this much higher.
Yeah.
And where do you get your numbers? And they
Uh-huh.
can get kind of
Yeah.
bratty sometimes.
Sure.
So it's nice to be able to say, well, we have this many offers. We do have escalation clauses in place, whatever, to
Uh-huh.
be able to support some of that. 'Cause
Totally.
Some of them can get mean.
Absolutely.
I want your guys' listings that are getting multiple offers.
Yeah.
But there's a handful. I heard
There
about one
still
yesterday.
is,
So
yeah.
they're still out
Again,
there.
it's price point,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And area and.
One of the things that I've always struggled with when showing as a buyer's agent, and it's a property that, again, I'm not sure if we're gonna get multiple offers or not, and they haven't set a deadline yet, is always wondering, do I want to be the first one in? Do I want to be the last one in? Like, if there's a deadline, I usually would always wait to the deadline, but you always worry a little bit about someone, ambushing the deadline with a, take it or leave it type offer. But I've always kind of tiptoed on that. And I think what I've always tried to do is stay in a lot of contact with that listing agent. Like, hey, do you have offers yet? Let me know what my people are still thinking about, trying to decide what we want to do. But I don't know if I love being the first offer in. If there's going to be multiple, actually, I hate it if there's going to be multiple offers. I don't like being the first offer in.
Being the first offer got me one.
Yeah, it does. I mean, there's some people that,
Relationship.
yeah, some people,
I'm
there's an
not-
old saying, the best offer is the first
Yeah.
offer, but I don't know if that's
But
true.
But it might not be, right? It depends, I
Yeah.
think it depends on the agent.
Yeah.
I got that agent to tell me exactly what my clients needed to do to win the offer.
Right.
So.
I think if you're in a situation where you can't get in contact with the agent, you just shoot that offer over as soon as you can, because
Right.
you could be,
You're both-
they're probably not calling you back because they're showing it to all their buyers.
Right,
So,
yeah.
all right, so as we're moving through the transaction, we've got our offer accepted, or we're writing an offer. They're being reviewed. I think now more than ever, from a listing agent's perspective, a fair amount of earnest money is more important than ever. Because I've heard about so many buyers this last week, literally just walking away from transactions and walking away from the earnest money. And if you're representing a seller, you want to make sure that walkaway hurts.
It's unbelievable.
Yeah.
Yeah, earnest money, I am a firm believer in a significant amount of
Mhm.
earnest money. We'll counter earnest money.
Yeah.
We're not afraid to lose a deal over an earnest money
Mhm.
amount. If the earnest money amount isn't good enough, then the offer's not good enough. And earnest money should be, the definition is to show how earnest you are about it. If you write on a $500,000 house and you put down $3,000 of earnest money, to me,
That's not
it's not enough.
Not enough.
It needs to be painful to walk away from. I understand there's obviously VA buyers, and they might have $1,000 for earnest money or whatever, but it's not enough. You should, on the buyer side, we should be setting expectations that earnest money needs to be at bare minimum 1% of the purchase price. And if a buyer's got a large down payment, 20% or whatever, there is no reason not to put if you got $100,000 down payment, let's make earnest money $25,000. That will make your offer stand out and show the seller, you guys are serious. And yeah, so earnest money is super important. We will fight earnest money. Yeah.
it says in the purchase contract that when it deals with the seller's losses, it says, and I think that I might be off on the quote a little bit here, but it says something along the lines that it'd be nearly impossible to ascertain what the seller's damages would be should buyer breach a contract. Therefore, the earnest money is liquidated at, I mean, the seller's damages are liquidated at the earnest money amount, meaning that if the buyer walks away, the most the seller can ever get from them is that earnest money amount. And if that number is not significant, then walking away isn't painful. And getting your offer accepted, like, again, like if it's a multiple offer situation, or even if it's not, having a lot of earnest money, if you are a good buyer's agent who stays on top of their deadlines, shouldn't be that big of a risk. I mean, unless your buyers just want to walk away at the last moment and they just want to just straight up breach the contract, which, like what the story you told, like we should be able to manage our timelines and protect our clients' earnest money because this contract's so buyer friendly. It's not that big of a risk. I don't think. What do you guys think about that?
I definitely agree with Alex.
Yeah.
But it's also who am I representing?
Yeah, if you're representing the
Yeah,
buyer, right?
If
You wanna
it's a
look.
buyer, I mean, I definitely think they should put 1% down.
Yeah.
No matter what.
Yeah.
But if it's a seller and somebody brings in 2%, 3%, whatever, again, the terms, meaning earnest money and down payment, mean almost to me more than how much they're offering.
Mhm. Yeah.
I had a $340,000 listing, at 28 offers on it. One was, I think, $510,000 with $1,000 down and not even 3%. Down payment.
$510,000.
Never close. It'll never
on a
close.
free-
Yeah,
320.
well, we didn't take it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We
Right,
didn't
like,
take it, yeah.
It's
But
crazy.
That's, I
that's a
mean,
crazy offer.
Yeah.
Right?
it is, it's probably trying to do anything you could to get the offer
Yeah.
accepted, but
But are you doing right by your client?
no,
Right?
maybe he wasn't taught properly.
Right. Oh, okay, sorry.
I don't think it's just good for the seller, to be honest, if I'm looking, the way I look at it is if I'm representing a buyer, I want their earnest money to be a significant amount, painful to walk away from too, because they've told me they want the house, they're taking the position of writing an offer, signing stuff, making the effort, depositing earnest money in escrow, paying for inspections. If they decide the day before closing to back away, it should be painful for them, whether I work for them or not. Keep them in the dang deal.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't disagree with that.
Yeah.
I don't disagree with that at all. Yeah. I think that's
How
about,
about questions?
oh yeah. Do you guys have any questions? Like something that you're seeing, comments? How do I get this done? John Click, I'm gonna put you on the spot. So you had an open house over the weekend. You met some people, they wanted to write an offer. They want to write it contingent on the sale of their house, right? So where are you at with, what's that experience been like for you?
Flying by the seat of my pants. I'm waiting for the buyers wound up qualifying for conventional loan due to some circumstances.
Without selling their place?
Without selling their, but even. if,
Oh, okay.
The husband switched from a salary to a
Mm.
100%
Commission.
based
Uh-huh.
structure 8 months ago.
Yeah.
So they can't put that
Uh-huh.
income in. So I've got Josh and another loan officer working on some non-conventional packages that
Great.
they might qualify for, and they want to sell their house.
Mhm.
So they want me to list that, but I am not going to list it until they can qualify
Well-
for something where they don't want to sell their,
Yeah.
they don't want to sell their house out from
Right.
underneath them, and then they don't qualify.
Right.
for-
And this is something, this is interesting, but I'm glad you brought this up. And this is something that I've always thought was a little ironic. So we're in a hot market, we would never accept a contingent offer, right? Then offer is contingent on another property to sell because we wouldn't have to, right? But then the market changes and it's harder to sell. And we're like, ooh, bring that contingent offer. I really want that contingent offer. And it's kind of counterintuitive, right? Like we will accept an offer in a less favorable market that has contingency, but we don't have. And what I would encourage people to use is if your clients aren't looking for something that's like, I want a 900 square foot house on 30 acres in wine country for $950. Like if they're not looking for some sort of albatross that doesn't exist, you get that property listed and and then let them be a better buyer by using an occupancy agreement, like
Yeah.
mandate that occupancy agreement. You're a much stronger buyer once you've got your property into contract, or once you, even better, once it's closed, you can stay in the property for 60 days afterwards.
Right.
And I think that we're still, inventory is still tight enough that buyers will be willing to accept those terms.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool. All right, any other questions from anybody? Gus,
The
our newest agent, Gus, everybody. Welcome, Gus.
My question was, so the clients that you get, what you really want is them to get prepared, so what you want is them to get pre-approved?
Yeah, yep, that's the best thing. Now, you'll want to still go out and meet them and show them property. But as soon as you show them a house or two, you're gonna want to be like, okay, if you talk to a lender, let's get you with a lender. These are the people that I've worked with, give them a call. Yep. That way because what happens is if you aren't prepared when if you're out showing property to somebody who doesn't have their loan figured out, they inevitably find something that they want and they can't get it because they don't have their financing figured out. They don't have a pre-approval letter. No one will pay attention to
Yeah,
it.
you can't, you could write an offer without a pre-approval. You don't want to. You
Mhm.
want your clients to win.
Also, they're probably looking at a house that they can't afford.
Yeah.
Very well could, yeah.
It's a budget for them.
It could
Yes.
very well be an issue.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's really hard.
They all go on the calculator
Yeah.
online and go, well, we can afford this payment, but financially, maybe they can't because their debt to income ratio is not
Mhm.
allowing it.
Right.
Maybe they can afford more than their.
Yeah,
Right?
yeah.
And they don't know that.
Yeah, absolutely. It is horrible. It's not horrible. It's terrible when you're out showing property to a client and then they realize they can't afford the houses they've been looking at and they have to now settle for something that's not as nice. Like, it's really hard to walk that backwards. So,
Oh,
yeah.
so hard.
all right, cool. Well, thank you all.
Yeah.
I appreciate all the expert advice. Anything else you want to add before we're done? You guys are awesome.
I think over communicate.
Yeah, over communicate. I love that. And that's just in general with
Everybody.
the co-oping agent, with your clients, like just communicate. That's the
Yeah.
best way.
Lenders.
Lenders,
I also
escrow,
think you need to think about your client and not your paycheck.
That's right,
absolutely.
totally.
Yep. A wise man once said, and I don't know who he was, once said, it's okay to lose a deal, but don't lose a client. I don't know who said
Absolutely.
that.
It was you.
Oh, Kelly.
Our host wife.
All, it's because all that thinking pushes the hair out.
Yeah. She makes
Yeah.
a scratch in your.
Yeah, gives you scratching your head. All right, thank you all. Have a great week.
Yeah.
Thanks for being here. We love you all.